I would just love it.
Yeah.
Glad he got paid, man.
Yeah, me too, man, for sure. Clint, the armchair quarterback, been reading the scheduling here tonight. He says Melton is listed as a corner now. Bang. They were actually asked about it at the presser earlier today, too, and they made it sound like he is a corner now. Now, some people hear that and go, okay, maybe Melton could play corner, right? To me, guys, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but this doesn't feel good for Bo Melton. Like, this is kind of the last chance to make the roster, and hopefully he does, because if you do have someone playing corner, and we know he can play on special teams, and you get in a bind and you need somebody to hop over and play receiver, let's say you have 2 or 3 guys go down in one game, it would be very, very valuable to have them on the roster. Tim, I mentioned this, but I feel like I'm trying to talk myself into Bo Melton's going to be on the roster, when in all honesty, this might be his last opportunity to be a Green Bay Packer. Now, there's still a chance, obviously, that he could be back on the practice squad if he don't make the 53. But what do you think about Bo Melton here, man? We talked about the footwork. The footwork looks good, dude.
That's what I'm saying. And I agree, man. Like, Bo, what if he surprises everybody? Mm-hmm. What if he shocks the hell out of everybody and he's a legit corner? I mean, you talk about having to fill the void of losing an all-pro like Jair, right? So let's give him a chance. Maybe that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. Hey, we're going to work you with the DBs. You're gonna work out as a corner this camp. You've got one camp to show us that you can legit play corner, and that'll be your shot to make this 53. And then we get the added bonus of having another backup receiver in a pinch. You know, it's a crowded wide receiver room. So clearly, Bo's best opportunity to make the 53 is going to be to play some corner here. So I'll tell you, man, keep an eye on preseason football. We're going to see number 16 out there lining it up, playing a little DB.
Yeah, and the chat, Jacob, man, they seem to be on board with it, dude. Ed Madden said, I think he can make the 53 at corner. Jen Wright, good to see you in here, man. She says, agreed, Melton can make the 53. Special team is key as well. Great Coach Lynn said, I would agree. Our cornerback, love what Coach Lynn says. Our cornerback 4, 5, and 6 is not established at all. That's a great point there, Jacob.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people are still coming in with the chat here. So I get what you're saying, Clayton. And I know Ryan, this is like one of his biggest things that he's talked about over the years. And more, I would say 99% of the time, Ryan's been right. Like, when you start moving guys to other positions, people get excited. They're like, oh, he's a multi-positional player. Nope. He's about to get a knock on the door that says, can you come into my office real quick and, have that conversation. There is something that feels different about this, though. The way that some of the press releases came out and the way that some of the posts and some of the interviews, I didn't get a chance to watch everything today. I was a little strapped for time. But there was just something about the fact I felt like it wasn't coach speak, that they really do want to give him a shot to make this team. And I think, like Coach Lynn said, I know we got a starting 3 or at least a top 3 to 4, but there's definitely some room at the back end of that. And if you have a guy, I talk about this all the time, and I jokingly about like a long snapper that could actually be any other position on the team, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you do have a guy like Bo Melton that has a cornerback potential, obviously wide receiver experience, that has special teams like bona fides, that I really do think that's not a liability. That's an asset, in my opinion, especially if he is on the back end of that 53-man roster. Do I expect that he's going to come out and be cornerback 1 and look like, Jair? No, that's not what I don't think anybody's saying that. But the fact that he is an absolute jack of all trades on this team, I don't think, like Coach just said too, he's our best gunner. I Respect Orders comes in, he's a 9.24 RAS athlete. To me, that's not the type of people that we let walk.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it would be something they just cut him outright and not want him back in the practice squad. I'm wondering, can they sneak him onto the practice squad is what they're thinking. Now, there's plenty of other teams in the league, like you just said, Jacob, at 9.24 RAS that Respect Orange brings up. They'd be lined up around the block for an athlete like that, no doubt. Dan Lang in the chat says the 4 to 6 CB is up for grabs. Seize the moment. He's going to have an opportunity to do it. What are we going to be watching in special or in preseason this year, boys? We're going to be watching Bo Melton try to make this team, right? It's going to be awesome. Coach Lynn says Bo has to beat out King and Haddon. I think he has a chance. And it's funny that you mentioned that too, Coach, because the next clip we got here came from our good buddy Baz over there at Basaraski Productions, and they had this clip somebody had recorded, I believe, there in practice, and he had just shared it on Twitter. Great pass breakup today from Kalen King. I'll just let it roll here, and you boys check it out. Kalen King's going to make a play in the lower right corner along the sideline here, as you see. Drop back to pass. Look at our boy getting there and break it up, right? Get a hand on it. Listen, Kalen King, man, I'm a fan. I don't think he had many opportunities last year, right? But now that Ja's gone, this might be the year that he breaks onto the roster. But he's going to be competing with Bo Melton and some of these guys, right? I love the idea of Kalen King being our fifth DB. You know what I mean? Our fifth corner. I think, based off how he played the year before he came out of college. And granted, he had, I want to say it was Joey Porter Jr. playing on the opposite side from him. So some people were saying that's why he looked so good. Joey Porter Jr. was covering the ones and he was covering the twos. But nonetheless, man, I think he showed enough in college. I'm excited to see what he can do. And he's kind of got his feet wet now, Tim, with a full year in the league, whether it's on practice squad, running scout team, helping run scout team, and then getting into a little bit of playing time. And I think he'll be all right.
I agree. I feel the same way about Kalen King as I do about like KT Oladapo. That's another great example in our secondary of a guy who didn't get a lot of chances last year, but has been around. This is now his second year as a pro. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and I agree, man. I hope Kalen King is one of the 5 DBs for sure.
Mm-hmm. Greg Rice asked here, who threw that ball? I think that might be Taylor Elgersma. Do you guys agree or no?
That's a Respect Oranges seems to think that. I couldn't quite see.
Yeah, to me it looks. I mean, it's definitely not a 6, so it's not our boy Sean Clifford, right? I want to say Malik Willis. Malik Willis got a little bit better tan than that, so I think that's Elgersma. But again, I think the reason they brung it up, in my opinion, that's a pretty nice ball. You know what I mean? That's not an easy throw to make. You're putting that thing, 20 yards down the field and then another 8 to 10 yards outside. I mean, it just barely gets a hand on it, though.
Yeah, that's just great defense by Kalen King, right? Mm-hmm. You could see him fired up, too. As soon as he popped up, he was fired up. He knew he made a play on that ball. And we know that this kid from Canada can sling it, too. So I don't think it was a bad throw. I think it was just good defense.
Yeah, Coach Lynn says, I heard Oladapo played a little slot today. Hey, you better be able to cross-train, Jacob. You know what I mean? You got to be able to get into these other positions because you never know when they're going to get banged up. And the fact that they had him playing a little in the slot, it's the first day of camp. I got to calm down. But the first thought that comes to mind for me is maybe they are putting Bullard completely back to safety. You know what I mean? They're trying just to cross-train Oladapo in the slot. So what do you think about that? And what do you think about Kalen King here, man? You think you got a shot to make this roster?
I really do. I liked what I brought it up earlier, Jen, right? The 4, 5, and 6 being Haddon, King, and Melton. That would be an absolute dream for me. Absolute dream. And I think that, what you've talked about where Kalen King had spurts of greatness in college. I mean, at one point he was considered the top cornerback in the draft. Then obviously some things happened and didn't quite pan out the way that obviously he would have wanted it. And same thing with Kamal Haddon. Wasn't he a Tennessee guy, Clayton?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Sure, yeah.
I liked him a lot coming out, and I was very surprised that he didn't end up sticking with the team and really getting a good shot because I really thought that he played good ball. So I don't think that there's any, we did an exercise just yesterday about the best camp battles. I think that you could just put DB room, safety room, just throw. Obviously, we kind of know who the starters are at safety, but just the fact that we have such a deep rotation, added with the fact that we have such unknown prospects in the DB room in general, cornerback, whether it be the slot or outside on the perimeter, it's going to be a really fun battle to see. I'm getting more and more jealous of Tim by the minute because he gets to have a front row seat to this kind of stuff. And, I really would enjoy the competition. I have to think that, iron or steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, whatever you want to say there. I think that the amount of competition that we've brought into this offseason and now into the training camp is going to absolutely pay off in dividends.
Yeah. Yep. And then, we're talking about all these young guys that might be on the bubble and trying to make the 53 and maybe grab their spot on the practice squad. One guy you ain't got to worry about that is Xavier McKinney, as Baz tweeted this out. Xavier McKinney's interception on Love today. Great play by Ed. If you could catch it here, bottom center of the screen, watch him go up and snatch that thing, picked off. X is going to pick up right where he left off last year, guys. Really. And look at everybody rally around him. And you think they don't love Xavier McKinney. I've seen Baron Sorrell right in the middle of those players, as well as Dan Lang said. X's INT was a thing of beauty, such a great player. And, some people would see that and go, man, Love threw an interception. Think about this. Zach Tom has turned into a fantastic right tackle. Who lines up across from him every practice? Rashawn Gary, the best pass rusher on the team. So now you got Love having to go in his second year with Xavier McKinney on the team. He has to worry about going up against him every day in practice. Tim, that's a great thing. Jacob mentioned iron sharpening iron. That's another aspect of this whole thing. It's kind of like back in the day, if I remember correctly, you had who was it? It was Devontae Adams going against Jair Alexander, a young Jair Alexander, and him kind of stretching Jair Alexander's game. And then Devontae Adams moves on. Jair Alexander's a Pro Bowler, and now he's on Christian Watson covering him. And it's just kind of that matchup that goes both ways, man. You want your ones on your ones as much as possible so you can improve as much as you can.
Yeah, and it says a lot because this was like the first thing they did too. As soon as they started doing anything team orientated, it was ones versus ones right away. Like awesome. Right away. That was the first thing I noticed. And you see it. You're right. I'm sure. X probably talks a little trash to Jordan, and Jordan probably talks a little trash back, and it's all in good fun, and you're motivating each other, picking each other up. But I would think that you're absolutely correct there in that assessment, Clayton, that, you got to think that just in the development that we've seen out of Jordan Love since the Xavier McKinney signing, you look at, despite the injuries last year that he had, the way that he closed out that season for us. So I think he's just going to continue to improve when he's got to go up against, competition like that. And we know Jordan likes to air it out and take the shot play, right? So you got guys like X and Evan Williams back there making it difficult for him.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, you got anything on Xavier McKinney here, man? I think he'll pick up right where he left off last year.
I really do. The guy's just a consummate pro. Like, you don't have to tell him to be ready. You don't have to coach him on how to take care of his body in the offseason. Obviously, you can see that he's ready to go right now. I saw some people, not in this chat, but in other chats, be like, Jordan Love throwing interceptions, guys. Rodgers used to just throw anything he could because it was camp. He likes to just stretch it. He likes to test his arm. He likes to test the defense. If you watch the show, somebody said, I believe in the chat here, they did say he's got to get a little more zip on that. I don't think he's going to make that ball no matter what. X has got that thing locked in. And he had a good angle on that wide receivers route there. But, I love to see it personally. Xavier is just what it means to be a Packer, what it means to be a captain, what it means to be a staple of the defense. I'm so excited about his progression and the way that, he's so good that I really find it hard to believe that there's no way that his type of ethic, his type of attention to the game is not going to seep into the young guys like Oladapo, like Evan Williams, like Bullard. So it's just I don't think that you could put a price on what that guy's worth.
Yeah, and Rob Demoski put this tweet out, said just a couple of highlights. Xavier McKinney with an end zone INT, Matthew Golden touchdown catch from Malik Willis. Sound like Malik Willis really performed well today. And I'm so every time I hear the name Malik Willis, I'm like, I'm so glad he's our backup quarterback. That's so awesome. So it lasted 1 hour, 36 minutes. And it looks like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like the defense doing push-ups today. Is that what y'all are seeing here too?
I think so.
The green?
Yeah, it looks like all the offense. Looks like all the offensive guys are standing there. I don't see any.
Here we go.
Standing, so.
We got our first winner.
There you go. All right, so that's just a quick little recap of what happened on the practice field the first day of camp.